This man uses hypnosis to make women do whatever he wants, and also give them nightmares. Pretty spooky. We begin with the woman urgently calling Detective Wade Rollins. It's night, so Wade doesn't answer. Andrea looks pretty upset and scared and asks to call her back. She's panicking. It feels like someone's watching her. Andrea enters an elevator when suddenly she gets a call from an unknown number. She hopes it's the detective, but it's a strange dude saying, "This is how the world ends." Nah man, we had passed that phase in 2012. No one believes in apocalypses today. But the world will end for Andrea. The elevator begins shrinking and a screaming Andrea turns into a raspberry toast. Possibly. Let's forget about this for a while. Meet Jen. She came to a party with a water plant instead of a wine bottle she just drank. It's okay. No one will judge you on a Friday evening. Luckily, I have 7 Fridays a week. Bad news. Some guy Brian is at the party too. Jen considers her options for a moment and finally decides to join the party. There's too much wine in her to stop at this moment. Alcohol and ex-boyfriend? Perfect mixture. Gina introduces Jen to Dr. Colin Mead, her psychiatrist. She immediately suggests Jen have an appointment too. I don't need to be a doctor to see Jen as an alcoholic, so yeah, why not? Gina, her boyfriend Scott, Jen, and Brian have small talk. They're into some software engineering, computer stuff. Don't ask me what exactly. I only know how Bitcoin miners work. Learned it the hard way. Dr. Mead joins, because the situation couldn't get any more awkward. Brian wants to take a bite of a snack, but Jen screams, stopping him. There's sesame in it, and Brian is highly allergic. Nice save. Dr. Mead heads out of the party and leaves his contact info to Jen. After witnessing her finish her 3rd bottle of wine in a day, he believes she'll make the perfect potential client. Don't show him my floor full of empty bottles then. While Jen is waiting for her Uber, Brian approaches and thanks her for saving his life. Brian tries to discuss their past relationship, but Jen is not in the mood. Then, Brian offers a ride home. Bad idea, girl. You're too drunk to drive with your ex. And they clapped. Classic. The next day, Glennon says Jen must go for therapy. Unemployment, clapping with the ex, not mentioning alcohol for some reason. Finally, Jen gives up and accepts help. They call it the first step. Jen comes for a consultation. Some badass office Dr. Mead got. For some reason, it resembles 50 Shades of Grey, but maybe it's just me. And my ex. Never mind. During the consultation, we find out everything was not so easy between Jen and Brian. They met in college, were living together, and were happily engaged. Jen was 6 months into pregnancy when she had a stillbirth. After the tragedy, she didn't know how to move on with Brian. That made Dr. Mead more interested. He closes his notebook and offers hypnotherapy. Oh, okay, I thought you were a real doctor. Jen is skeptical too, but Dr. Magic calms her down, saying she'll have control of her subconscious all the time. So the session begins. Relax. Imagine you're in a peaceful forest. You get the drill. A moment later, boom, finished. Jen thought it was like 3 minutes, but an hour had passed. 3 months passed. Jen meets with Gina and shares her happiness. She went for hypno sessions once a week for 3 months and feels much better. It's strange, but Gina asked for a hypno session and never got it. It seems it's only for the chosen girls, right? Our basketball coach in high school also had those private sessions with the chosen boys after classes. I've always wished he had chosen me. Jen has a dream. She's in bed enjoying a morning with a man near her. Wait, it's Dr. Mead. Ha, now I understand why she wants those sessions so much. Was it just a dream? The next day, Jen enjoys shopping while stumbling into Dr. Mead. Coincidence? She shares great news with him. She got a new job and enjoys yoga and meditation. Everything's great now. But she didn't go for therapy for 2 weeks, so doctors suggested they should have a cup of coffee. During the coffee time, Mr. Mead opens up more about himself. He's 46, single, and the love of his life tragically passed away. But Mead has chosen not to be a victim and continues with his life. He also suggests Jennifer should not consider herself a victim. She should invite Brian for dinner and discuss their past relationship. Jen is surprised but agrees. The same evening, she calls Brian over. While shopping for the date, she gets a call from an unknown number and suddenly, boom, she's in a trance. She hears clocks ticking and wakes up in her home with food on the table. She hears choking in the bathroom, goes there and finds Brian. He's lying there unconscious. So that's how you deal with your past? Brutal. Jen visits Dr. Mead, sharing her fears. She feels she might be responsible for what has happened. The whole process felt like a hypnotic session. Dr. Mead calms her down. It's okay, girl. You control everything. Just relax. Don't let the fear win and enjoy our work. Oh, I was confused at first, but now I'm 100% sure something is wrong with this so-called doctor. But Jen agrees and keeps getting weird dreams with Mead. Oh wow, it looks like a deep trap. Back at home, Jen finds sesame oil and it got her remembering how Dr. Mead called her before she went to the store and said, "Carry the fire." She recalled buying sesame oil and adding it to the salad, causing an allergic reaction for Brian. Now she realized. Jen browsed for Dr. Mead and found spooky news about women disappearing. Some woman named Andrea even asked for a restraining order on her Dr. Mead. Whoa, that was vast. If only she googled the guy before using his services. She also learns that there were causes of people using hypnosis for crimes and stuff. So you can't control yourself under hypnosis after all. Not a huge discovery for me, to be honest. I keep eating 3 packs of Takis per day without remembering it at all. It always felt like it was demons, but maybe it was just Dr. Mead playing mind tricks on me too. Jen brings the facts to Gina's table, but she doesn't see them. Of course, she's not the one who's sleeping with them. A girl files a restraining order and after 3 days, dies. accuses Mead of stalking and emotional abuse. Nah, just a coincidence. Finally, Jen pulls out a joker, a check from the store. Well, at least Gina didn't accuse Jen of murdering someone and trusted her. The girls meet with Detective Wade, who was the one following the case of Andrea, the girl from the beginning. A detective opens up for the girls. Yes, he worked on the case. He suspects Mead of hypnotizing Andrea and getting her into extreme fear, which caused her to die of a heart attack. There's even a videotape of Andrea getting a call from an unknown number and dying after. So what does the detective suggest? Stay away from the therapist. That's it. Not much, but the girl should be good. After leaving the detective, Gina shares that she also did therapy with Mead this week. Oh, you perv. Don't answer calls from unknown numbers, girls. But Jennifer believes the best defense is attack, so she pays a visit to Dr. Mead with a tape recorder turned on. Look how self-confident she became. Thinks she can play mental games with the man who made her kill a dude with hypnosis. Maybe the therapy indeed works. She asks for hypnosis again. Why don't you go straight and ask him for some clapping services? Those allegories don't work anymore. Meanwhile, Detective Wade can't stop thinking about Dr. Mead's case. He goes through Andrea's files and searches for the cases connected with hypnosis. After a clapping session, hypno party, Jen goes to a car and listens to the tape. Turns out, Mead knew about her plan. During the hypnosis session, he asked about Jen's plan, whether she trusted him, and why she was doing it. He also asked why Jen came to the police station with Gina. You perv followed them. And Jen gives up everything, that she doesn't trust him and wants to record this to find out what's going on. You got it. Mead even calls her my love. Oh man, why would you say that if you know you've been recorded? Guess the man has too much self-confidence. Jen realizes she's in deep crap and goes straight to Gina's house. She calls her friend, but Gina just left the house and is busy driving a car and ignoring everything that happened in the police station, I suppose. She's like, sorry dear, I have some other stuff. A hypnomaniac can wait. Gina gets a call. From who? You guessed it. Mentalist. Dr. Mead says a secret code. This is how the world ends. And suddenly, Gina sees a huge tarantula climbing on her. That isn't good because she has arachnophobia. In a panic attack, Gina speeds up and meets the truck. Jen was lucky to catch the accident scene. At his office, Dr. Mead listens to some classy opera tunes and enjoys scotch. The scene looks more like a regular day of a Nazi officer, but maybe that's only because we already know this guy's a psychopath. Detective Wade comes to break the sad news. Gina and her husband died in a car accident. Together, they drink scotch and perform some mind games. While pouring himself another shot of scotch, Wade steals pliers for ice. Wade reveals he found some patterns in Mead's clients. 3 girls shared physical characteristics, and all 3 are dead now. Mead smells his pants are beginning to burn and gently asks Wade to go home. And he does. Whoa, pliers and free booze? That was a great afternoon. The same evening, Wade visits Jen. He shares what he's learned so far and leaves Andrea's file for Jen to investigate. Wade promises to get Mead's fingerprints by tomorrow, so until then, she should stay low and be careful. Being careful means not locking your door and opening it wide away. Here's Johnny. Duck. Jen tries to run, but Mead demands her to stop, and she stops like an obedient puppy. Whoa, I should learn hypnotic moves too. Mead acts like an offended teen who didn't get to clap on the first date. I invited you in. I listened. What do you want? It would be nice if you didn't kill all her friends, bro. Mead acts like a creep, smelling the girl's hair, then tells her to relax and turns the freeze spell over. Jen calls Wade, who just came home but has his phone off. He puts it to charge and enjoys some dinner when hearing some creaks. That's the villain sound. He checks around the house but finds no one and proceeds to watch the crime show. Gets me wondering, do cops really come back home and watch crime scenes? It's like a trucker coming home after a hard day and playing Euro Truck Simulator. Hey look, behind, it's some creepy girl with a knife. Wait, I remember her. She was one of Mead's patients. A possessed lady attacks Wade and seriously injures him. Still, Detective recalls it's actually his job to hit women until they die and wins the fight. Wade gets to the hospital and Jen visits him. She has a bright idea. Get her to another hypnotist who will make her remember Mead's sessions and then use it as evidence against the psychopath. Wade is not so sure. No strong evidence it is. Jen still goes for it and visits another hypnotist. This time it's a woman, so we hope no abuse will be involved. Jen gets into a trance and starts remembering what happened between her and Mead. Suddenly, she gets choked. Hypno Woman tries to wake her up and fails. From the dream, we learn about Mead's mentor, Dr. Xavier Sullivan. Jen sees a date with Mead. He gives her a bracelet with the name of his ex-love. Finally, Jen wakes up. Apparently, it was some mental defense that Mead had placed in case someone else would try to hypnotize her. Wait, guys, let me know in the comment section. Does hypnosis really work that way? I'm getting some doubts now. Anyways, Jen did remember something. A house address of Xavier Sullivan. Before Jen leaves, Hypno Woman places a counter trigger in her to defend herself from Mead's manipulations. Jen Googles Xavier Sullivan and finds out more about him. He was recruited by the CIA to work on the MK Ultra program. Ouch, I know about this one. Pretty spooky and real. Jen finds Xavier's house and pays him a visit. She knocks at the door but no one answers. The door's wide open so she enters the house. There she finds a photo of Mead with his wife. Suddenly, the dude is right behind her. That spooky bastard. How does he move so silently all the time? Splinter Cell on minimum wage. Guess what? Xavier was Mead's father. Professor X and his family. Mead turns Jen's sleeping mode on and she's off. Meanwhile, Wade gets fingerprint results and they belong to a man named Julian Sullivan. Indeed, Professor X's son. Wade calls Jen. She's at Julian's office. Wade calls the police and sends them over. Whoa, that timing was perfect since Sullivan just returned. While the police reach the place, Sullivan takes a moment to share his passion with Jen one more time. Your appearance, your scent, is he talking about a woman or a dog? Sullivan shares that there were more women, but they weren't quite as good as Jen. In this very moment, police storm in the office, but no one is there. Jen wakes up. She's in Sullivan's house. Another darn magic trick. Wade understands what's happening and calls the police to Sullivan's home. Turns out, Sullivan has planted memories of his time with his wife into Jen's head. That's how strong he wants to replace his wife with Jen. Say what you wish, boys, but that's dedication. I can't see how you'll deal with her frozen 100% of the time, but the man did his work. So the reason why Sullivan kept it for so long is that today is their wedding anniversary with his wife. He gives Jen a bracelet he used to give to his wife. Just when Doctor was about to kiss her, Wade arrives, and of course, he's not the Splinter Cell type at all, so Sullivan gets alarmed. Wade searches the house for Sullivan while Jen tries to break off her mental trap. Wade fights with Sullivan while Jen manages to release herself. She finds the boys fighting on the floor, but Mead commands her to sleep, so she slowly passes out. But before falling unconscious, she grabs the gun while Mead chokes Wade. Boom, gunshot. Wade wakes her up. Turns out she did indeed shoot Wade. He calms her down saying, "You're gonna be fine, my love." Oops, the red flag again. Luckily, Jen recalls the mental defense she learned from the Hypno woman. If Mead calls her my love, she ignores every trigger he puts into her head and will see the world around her for what it truly is. Jen wakes up, punches Mead, and runs away. She finds Wade, whom she wounded in the shoulder. She grabs a gun from Wade's ankle and shoots Mead twice. 1 month later, we see Jen again. She's got a fresh look. Nice touch. She visits Brian, who's still in a coma, and says they'll be moving to a new place together. She says sorry for distancing herself from him for so long. Jen also visits Wade, who earned himself a promotion and now moves out of his office. He hands her a gift. It's a better sleep, self-hypnosis tape. Ha, excellent joke, my dude. Too soon? Not for Jen. She loves a good joke. Moral of the story? I will never see Professor X the same way.